Welcome to OIB-TAC's monthly webinars, where our presenters share valuable information and helpful resources to support professionals working with older adults who are blind or vision impaired. Let's check out this month's webinar. So again, welcome to our webinar, Eye2Eye, Building Connections and Resilience Through Peer Support for Vision Loss. And I'm really thrilled to welcome our presenters, Dr. Alicia Lukachko and Dana Manson from the Eye2Eye program that is they're both with Rutgers University. Their complete bios and information about their background is posted on our website page. But I just very excited to learn about this really valuable program that will help individuals find those connections and get that support that is so helpful to them at any stage in vision loss. So I'm going to turn it over to Alicia at this point.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And I know we've been waiting, excited. We've been anticipating with excitement this opportunity for a long time. So thanks so much. We're so excited to be here sharing information about the Eye2Eye Peer Support Program for Vision Loss. This slide includes the name of our program and the logo for the Rutgers School of Health Professions, where Eye2Eye is based. And the Eye2Eye logo features an eye cradled by two hands and the words "I" number 2 eye. And this slide is titled Our Presenters and shows photos of Dana Manson, peer support specialist, and me, program director, with the Eye2Eye logo above. And my name's Alicia Lukachko. I serve as a program director again for Eye2Eye. And I have a background just as a general background in public health and social work. And my role in Eye2Eye is to oversee the program, the development of the program, supervision and evaluation of the program. I'm joined today by my colleague, Dana Manson, who is one of our peer support specialists. And also she oversees the outreach and promotion of our program and social media. She wears a lot of hats, actually. And she was also, well, she will describe her background in a little more detail. Dana, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dana Manson. Yes, Alicia introduced me well. I also am a social worker like Alicia, recently became a social worker, and I'll tell you guys all about that later on in my experience with Eye2Eye as a whole.
Great. And Dina brings her professional training and her lived experience with vision loss, and that combination is really central to how Eye2Eye works. So this slide titled Overview lists the presentation sections with the Eye2Eye logo at the right. And today I'll begin with describing who we are as a program, followed by the background and rationale for why we started Eye2Eye, or why Eye2Eye was started. And then I'll describe our services and reach. And I'll share what we've learned so far just in terms of those folks in the states that we serve now. And after that, we'll transition into the peer support experience. So this slide includes a description of the Eye2Eye Peer Support Program for Vision Loss, a photo of a young woman standing, holding a phone in her hands, and an older adult man sitting on a couch, holding a phone to his ear. Eye2Eye is a free phone-based peer support program. Again, it's designed to help individuals and their families adjust to the challenges of vision loss. While we're based out of Rutgers University in New Jersey, our program serves adults from across the country. Eye2Eye focuses on that shared experience of vision loss as a powerful tool for connection, emotional support, and personal growth. I'll describe more about our services. And callers to the program, they're paired with trained peer support specialists who connect with clients on a regular basis. And I'll detail more about that. They provide emotional support, key tips for information, mentorship, community resources. And our main focus is that one-to-one peer support, but we also offer virtual and phone-based peer support groups. And I also want to mention that callers often say when they are calling into the program that it's the first time that they've spoken to someone who really gets it, who really understands what they're going through. And that sense of connection, I believe, makes Eye2Eye unique and a valuable addition to the community. So this slide includes an image of several diverse hands clasped together, symbolizing unity and support, and includes our mission statement. So our mission at Eye2Eye is to help people build resilience, navigate those challenges of vision loss, and celebrate victories as well, one step at a time. And that mission statement, it's simple, but it really speaks to the heart of our program. Eye2Eye was created to support individuals experiencing vision loss at any degree or level as they navigate what can be a very challenging and complex process. Our role is to support people through that process, helping them find ways to move forward at their own pace. As I mentioned, we also work with families. One thing that we realized in our work is that families are going through their own, and loved ones are often going through their own adjustment process. And so bringing them into the work and the peer support really helps to benefit client outcomes. And the approach that we use is very strengths-based. So we focus on resilience, connection, and recognizing progress even when that happens gradually. So this slide shows the title, program background alongside the Eye2Eye logo. Eye2Eye was first launched by Dr. Steve Silverstein, and he was formerly part of Rutgers University Behavioral Healthcare and the Department of Psychiatry. And it was started in October of 2019 with funding from the Lavelle Fund for the Blind. The program was modeled after other successful peer support lines at Rutgers, and you may be aware of some of these. There's vet to vet, cop to cop, or mom to mom, which all connect people, individuals with peers who share that lived experience, and they are call lines and phone-based. So in March of 2020, Eye2Eye moved to the Department of Psychiatric Rehabilitation and Counseling Professions at the Rutgers School of Health Professions. And since then, we have received additional funding from Reader's Digest Partners for Sight, the Sarah K. DeCoizart Fund, the Fan Fox and Leslie R. Samuels Foundation. And recently, we received a grant from the Gibney Family Foundation. We're so grateful for this support. It has really allowed us to expand our services and to reach more people across the country. I also want to mention that a very important part of our funding and support comes from individual donations. And we started out serving only the tri-state area when Eye2Eye first got started and kicked off. And today we serve clients from 44 states across the country. So we've really grown. Now we do serve, we serve individuals nationwide, but currently 44 are represented. We're trying to get the rest. So, and the growth of the program, it really reflects the need for emotional support services for individuals coping with the challenges of vision loss. This slide includes a list of mental health outcomes associated with vision, loss of vision, a photo of an older adult man and one of a young adult woman, both seated and resting their chins on their hands in apparent contemplation. Losing vision, whether suddenly or gradually, is often associated, it's often a highly stressful and even traumatic experience. Depression is common among individuals with vision loss. According to a study by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 4 adults with vision loss report anxiety or depression, with younger adults being at especially high risk. Loss of vision has also been associated with loneliness, social isolation, feelings of worry, anxiety, fear, and lower reported quality of life. Now, this doesn't accompany everyone's experience, but because there's a higher risk, we really want to be able to provide as many services as possible to help in that adjustment. The need for emotional support services aimed at helping individuals and their families, that's substantial, but research indicates that these mental health needs go largely unmet. So the Eye2Eye Peer Support Program was developed to help fill this gap in support services and really to help connect individuals who are facing those significant mental health needs with appropriate professional resources and services. That is another important function of the program, I would say, when there are those who could benefit from professional mental health. Our service can really help to make those connections. Okay, so peer support and Eye2Eye, as I was saying, do help fill that gap in terms of mental health service needs. And this slide is titled Core Functions of Peer Support and includes an illustration of people holding hands in a spiral, symbolizing connection and community. It lists the key functions of peer support, which include first, practical support, helping people problem solve everyday challenges. Second, social and emotional support, listening, validating, providing encouragement. Third, connecting people to clinical care and community resources, making sure that people know what's available to them and how to access those resources. And finally, ongoing support, because adjusting to vision loss takes time, and people often benefit from that sustained contact. And these core functions are reflected in Eye2Eye services. Dana also will go into more detail about these core functions of peer support in her work that she has provided, and also as a former client of Eye2Eye. So this slide is titled Benefits of Peer Support and highlights important benefits associated with peer support. Peer support has been linked to a number of positive outcomes, including improvements in emotional well-being, social connection, treatment engagement, and overall quality of life. While the broader evidence is strong, we do know that research associated or specific to vision loss, peer support with vision loss, that's limited, and it's something in an area where more work is needed, and one that we really hope to contribute to. Our outcomes that we've seen with our program have been very positive, and that's something that we'll talk about a little bit more as well. So here's a snapshot of services we currently offer. This slide is titled Our Services and shows photos of two people talking on the phone, highlighting the one-to-one and group-based peer support that Eye2Eye provides. As a peer support program, Eye2Eye offers emotional support, community connection. We also offer assessments of needs and well-being. We help clients in terms of goal setting. We can give information about and resources. As I mentioned, we also do engage in providing referrals as we can, and also offer those services for families and loved ones. We also offer virtual peer support services, including a workshop for individuals who are new to vision loss, a support group for young adults, and groups for spouses and partners. I'm going to describe a little bit more about our groups that we offer in just a moment. And we also offer Spanish services in Spanish, as well as a dedicated program for older adults in New York City. So here, this slide titled Virtual Peer Support Groups includes a photo of diverse hands joined together in a circle, and lists the groups we currently offer. Some I've already mentioned, and along with a few that we're hoping to get off the ground within the next 6 months. So our current groups are those monthly support groups, one for spouses and partners, as I mentioned. We also are offering a young adults groups for ranging from ages 8 to 13. Dana, actually, she was a person who started that group, and so she's handing over the torch now, but she can speak a little bit more about that. We offer a group for older adults in New York City. Again, I mentioned the New Division workshop, and I also do want to mention that we offer a group that we we refer to as the waiting group, we do unfortunately have a waiting list for our services, but we do want to make sure that those who are on our wait list have an opportunity to connect with others and to our program. So we offer a support group just for those who are waiting to be assigned to a one-to-one peer. Under development as well, we have a Spanish language support group. Actually, that one just got kicked off the ground, as was mentioned in our team meeting today. And we'd also like to have a broader group, a national group for older adults, and also one that discusses some of the challenges and some of the strategies around balancing work and vision loss. So this slide is titled Our Peer Support Specialists with the Eye2Eye logo on the right. We currently have 12 trained part-time peer support specialists on our team, along with a graduate student actually from the department who's been a tremendous help. We also work with interns, not only from our department, but also from our local New Jersey Commission for the Blind. Training for our peer support specialists cover a range of core areas, including models and best practices in peer support, communication skills, active listening and reflective response. There are skills and strategies around motivational interviewing and group facilitation, just to name a few. So this slide is titled Our Callers and shows two photos, one of a woman on the phone, and one of a man with a white cane on the phone. Here's a quick look at our callers. So we've served just over 900 actually at this point clients since first taking calls in 2019 and growing. As I mentioned, we've had callers representing 44 states across the country and counting. Our participants span a wide age range from their 20s to their 90s, although the vast majority, about 70%, are age 50 and older. And some common topics here are listed. And I'm going to let Dina talk more about some of those topics, but they include some things like accepting and adjusting to vision loss, addressing isolation, navigating relationships and family. And so I will leave that discussion to Dina. And actually at this time, so that we have time for questions as well, I'm going to turn things over to Dana. And she's going to explain her personal experience with vision loss and the peer support process as a one-time client and active involved peer support specialist.
Awesome.
Take it away, Dina.
Great. Thanks, Alicia. Yeah, so I'm happy to share with all of you kind of from both ends. So I was a caller of the program in 2020. So I'll talk about kind of what that was like and kind of give you all a picture of what it would be like for folks who do want to call and have some peer support. And then I eventually did become a peer specialist with us and took calls myself. So I'll talk about the types of conversations, right? Different topics, types of things that we cover in terms of supporting people with vision loss and challenges. So in 2020, which gosh, that was so long ago, Alicia, now that I think about how long I called. I won't go into all the details, but essentially I had an accident and a pretty significant challenge to my vision. And I could not really use my vision and see. And at the time, there wasn't much services available for me, and we really did not know what to do. I was home living with my parents at the time. Mid-20s, right? Really challenging time, kind of feeling like, hey, am I supposed to be doing things and I can't even do anything, right? I don't know how to do anything. I can't read my phone. I can barely navigate my house. I can't cook. I can't do anything, right? That's how it felt. And I remember my parents did not know what to do either. And my father did a Google search and we found Eye2Eye. And so I gave them a call, and that was very hard because I didn't even know how to do that. I'm like trying to ask Siri and it's not working and whatever. I think eventually someone dialed the number for me and I called and, I left a message. They called me back, and they paired me up with James, is James still taking calls right now? I'm not sure, Alicia, but he's
Should
awesome.
be. Yep. James is still with us.
Great. I wasn't sure if he was taking a break, but so I was paired up with James, and James and I are very different backgrounds. James is in his 60s, right? Very different life experience than myself. But it was very, I was nervous to call. I can't lie. I had never spoken to anyone with vision loss, to be frank, right? I had not had, anyone in my life go through this experience before, and it felt very lonely and confusing. And so, when I called and James gave me that first call, and he was so nice and told me all about his personal story with vision loss and how he went completely blind, how he, you know, the struggle he went through, and he raised two kids, and and he went through a lot, and kind of gave me that hope of, oh wait, there is life, right? I can do things, right? People learn how to live their lives without being able to say, right? And with whatever challenges that they do have. And so that was kind of my first there. Oh, right. Me sitting on my couch doing nothing all day, right? This is not going to be life, right? This is a temporary thing. And so, um, I had multiple calls with James. So I think at the time it was once a week or once every other week or something, we'd talk. And, he gave me a lot of information about, you know, technology. Oh, by the way, you can do anything on your iPhone, right? Oh, I didn't know that. Or this is how you can use voiceover and how to cook and how to, right? And what he used to put on his hands to be able to cut things, whatever. So it kind of opened my eyes to, oh, this is how people do this, right? And this is how I can do this. And he was able to connect me with, some other organizations, right, that had some other workshops that I could, learn some more about, right, just assistive technology or tools, right? He introduced me to a few people that he knew that called me and talked to me about, how to do certain things like use my iPhone. And so once I kind of learned how to use my phone, that really helped. And then I kind of spent hours for me every day just teaching myself how to use this stuff. Um, and during that time, I actually applied to graduate school, and went to Rutgers for my MSW, after that. um, you know, so it was very, very helpful. And I'm very grateful to James, for his support. I was lucky. My vision did change. It got a little better. But, I still use, right, a lot of these supports and things to read and all of that stuff. So, but, and James really understood the emotional aspect as well, right? He wasn't just giving me information. I remember he was encouraging me, right, to go make a bowl of cereal or something. And I remember I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna do this. And I think I poured like, what was it? Apple cider. Like it felt like the milk jug. I poured it into my cereal and I took a bite and I was like, oh, that was not the milk, right? And I think my initial reaction was of frustration and disappointment. But then when I talked to James about it, he's laughing and he's like, oh, yeah, I've done it. He was like, I made the best peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich I ever had in my life, right? So it was nice to talk to someone who got it, and you just don't have that. Right. So that was very refreshing. And James was my cheerleader, and it was just a great experience overall. And it got to the point where, right, we had less calls over time because he was able to kind of help me out with finding my path with what I needed to learn how to do and figure out to be able to kind of move forward a little bit. And so I started kind of volunteering and working for us during my time in graduate school, and taking some calls myself, which also was very rewarding. So I'll kind of talk about, what the types of, experiences I had as a peer specialist. So I'll say that, right, we have a very diverse group of callers who call us, as Alicia was saying. And I think sometimes people call thinking, I need to be matched up with someone who's just like me, who has the same type of vision loss challenge, who's similar in age to myself. But, that's not the case, right? I had folks from 18 to 90s, and and everyone with different types of vision challenges, right? Some people who could still drive and were, about to lose vision, some people who are completely blind, right? But, being able to kind of talk about similar types of topics, um, kind of connect us, right? So, things like kind of if it's a vision loss, right? If someone loses vision, like that kind of grieving process, or kind of that loss of identity, and wow, I have to ask for help all the time. And what do I do? Right? This feels weird. How do I even ask for help? And being able to kind of talk through those types of topics, or, being able to navigate family dynamics, right? And being able to kind of advocate for that independence, right? While kind of also being able to ask for help. And how do you balance those types of things? Um, so I think there's a lot to connect on, right, of the challenges, and being able to kind of have those discussions, and provide just support with, again, resources, right? How do I meet some other people? What are some organizations that could be helpful, right? And just kind of tips and strategies, and I know as a peer, we are very dedicated to helping people out. So if one of us, if I had someone who had a question that I didn't know, I would go ask, right, our other peers, like if they could help with something, a resource, or, a tip or something like that. But yeah, so, there's a lot that we try to help people out with, and we care a lot about people, right? Um, I will say though, right? So peer support is different than kind of a friend to friend, right? So, um, callers are matched with a peer, and it's almost like it's a mentorship, so to speak, or right, kind of a guidance, and being able to kind of connect, talk about, and kind of set some goals together, right? What do you want out of this? How can I be helpful to you? Right? And kind of the goal is to help people feel that they are becoming more independent, or feeling just more at peace with what's happening, the emotions of it, right? And or if people want more friends, right, trying to help connect with, right, find ways of connection with others. And so, unfortunately, it doesn't last forever. Um, but we do offer many calls, many calls, right, to our callers who want that. And some people only have a few calls and feel like that's enough, right? I've had some people, it's just, more for some information. And then we've had people like, for quite a few months or so. And then kind of only calling if needed, right? As people feel that they've connected to what's helpful for them, or again talked through the challenges that they're working through. um, so yeah, but it's been, it's a very rewarding experience, working with others. And unfortunately, I don't take as many calls at this point, just because I now work as a therapist, outside of Eye2Eye. But it's very rewarding helping people out, and healing for myself too, right? To talk to people going through different challenges that, are relatable as well. Um, yeah, so I think that's kind of from both ends. Alicia, is there anything else you'd like me to touch on, or cover?
I think you covered a lot, Dana. That was That was great. And then we can respond to any questions. But I do want to talk about how to reach us, which is a critical piece here. And that is and that's our final slide before taking some questions, which includes information about how to connect with Eye2Eye by phone, email, or on our social media accounts. And so how it works is that callers can reach us either by phone or by email. The phone number, the main phone number is 833-932-3931. And I know this information also will be shared as a flyer. And you can always feel free to reach out to us. That email address is EYE2EYE @rutgers.edu. Eye2Eye@shp.rutgers.edu. And if you reach out to us either by phone or email, all of our peer support specialists work remotely. So what we'll ask you to do when you call in, you'll receive a message that asks you to leave your name and number. And we really strive to call back within 2 to 3 business days. And then someone will take some information, ask what you might be interested in. And it's really a very short process. And then at that point, you will be added to a wait list. Again, I'm sorry to say that we do have a wait list right now. However, if you do have more urgent needs, and really feel like you need to speak with someone sooner rather than later, or you might even benefit from a one-time call, we can arrange for that. Our peer support specialists, we have one person on call every day. Again, we are not a crisis line, and our peer support specialists are not mental health professionals. However, we do want to accommodate callers who have a greater sense of urgency. And so once you are added to our wait list, either as a priority wait list caller or if you feel more comfortable on the regular wait list, then we will, when a peer support specialist becomes available, we will assign callers to the peer support specialist who will reach out to callers and then determine a call frequency schedule with that caller. And we really try to meet callers and clients where they're at, and increase or decrease those calls as it meets the caller and client needs. Dana,
Can I add
anything
one more
else? Yes, please do.
Yeah, I think another thing we often, when I was doing our callbacks, got questions about. So our main service is one-on-one peer support, right? So that's the main service of Eye2Eye, and then our groups are kind of those additional, right? If you would like to join those, they're optional. But we have had people, I think there's a few exceptions, right, Alicia? But the groups, it's not just to join groups, right? So we are one-on-one is the main service.
That's correct. That's correct. While we do, so if you are part of our wait list, you can be eligible for certain groups like the new division loss group. Our group that's intended for spouses and partners. You don't have to be part of the one-to-one peer support program to take part in that group. However, with the others, for the most part, once you're part of our peer-to-peer program, including being on the wait list, you can participate in a number of groups actually that we're starting to offer here. And once you're assigned to a peer, that peer support specialist, most of our peer support specialists offer groups with their clients. And if they don't offer a group or run a group, facilitate a group, they will make sure that there's an opportunity to join another group. We really find that piece with having not only that one-to-one peer support, but that opportunity to be part of a group and build community is really especially helpful. And Dana, I don't know if you just want to talk a little bit about your, just with the young adults group, Is there anything else you wanted to add about that? Not to put you on the spot. I don't know if there's
Oh, you're right, because I didn't talk about kind of what the groups might be like, right?
yes, right. That experience or
Yeah, sure. So I, for a time, ran our young adult group, which was ages 18 to 30 or 30 or so, right? Depending on people, right? Who, if they felt they were a young adult, then that you could be in the young adult group, right? So I think I will say every peer probably has a different style in terms of their one-on-one calls as well as groups, but my group, we would do kind of an icebreaker type of thing, right? Maybe it was a funny joke, or maybe it was your favorite assistive technology, or your favorite way of exercising, or, your favorite things of the holiday, right? Something to just for fun. And then we would do kind of just pick a topic of the day. So for some people, right, maybe it was forming friendships, maybe it was, you know, navigating relationships with family members and advocating for that independence, or I've touched on dating, right, with the young adult crowd, or you know um that type of stuff. So usually we'd have kind of a topic that we would all discuss and go through together. A few times we had fun and just did some trivia questions or something fun, just to kind of form that bond between folks. And what I tried to do, and I'm not sure if they're still running it, is when I, wasn't able to continue running my old group, I gave them the opportunity to continue outside, right? If they wanted to connect with their consent, obviously we don't just give people's information to anybody. But for those who consented to, have each other's information, they could connect outside of the group and run their own kind of thing. So, but yeah, it was very fun, and it was, I think, very refreshing for everybody to connect with other people. So we enjoyed it.
thanks so much, Dana. And I think that is it in terms of what we have on this end. We'd love to answer any questions that you all might have.
Great. Well, thank you so much to both of you. It's so fun hearing about the program, all that work that you're doing. Dana, thank you so much for sharing your personal experience. And it's so exciting that not only were you able to get valuable support, but that you're turning around, turning back around and offering support to everyone, who may need it, or many people, as many people as you can who may need it. I know we have some questions in the chat, so we'll go ahead and start with those first, and then we'll open it up. Carrie, do you mind reading off one of the
Yeah,
questions?
I can do that. So the first question is by Judith West, and she asks, how many people are on the wait list?
So currently our wait list is around 40. So we have and that is about a 2 to 3 month wait list for us. If you're on our wait list, you do have an opportunity to take part in a group, and we do try to assess needs and address priority needs more quickly.
Okay. And then the next question is Deborah, uh, sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Solier Ramsey, and she asks, what states are not represented?
Oh gosh, it's such a good question. I wish I had that off my tongue, but please reach out. I'll let you know.
But you said how many states are represented? We'll start with that.
Or
44?
are, yes.
44. So,
44,
yes.
I'll get back with those six.
Okay. I think another one, Carrie. We have one.
Yeah, there's another one by Kate Belinsky, and she asks, I have clients who do not have smartphones and long distance is costly. Does the peer specialist call the person receiving support? And then she adds, to clarify, they have landlines only.
Yes. Dana, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so the calls are all you as a peer specialist, yep, they call the client directly. So, and usually we try to call multiple times, right? Or there's a set time, I guess I would say, right? So it's like, okay, we're going to call you at 3 o'clock on Friday. Does that work for you? Right? Next Friday. And then your peer calls you. So hopefully to eliminate, right, having to dial the phone and go, go through that process.
But that initial call would have to be made by the individual, right? That
Correct.
initial contact.
Yep, and we've had family members or someone or actually even caseworkers call as long as the client, right, is on the call with you.
Uh-huh.
You can say, I have so and so on the line with me. They're interested in peer support, and here's their phone number, right? So as long as there's consent from the person, and it'd be preferable if they could say hi, you could hold
Yeah.
the phone for them. But yes.
Exactly. That goes for email as well. If you're calling on behalf of a client and that who you want to refer and CC that person, then we can then follow up and reach out.
Awesome. All right. I think we have some more, Carrie. I'm not
We
sure.
do. We have
Yeah.
more. So the next question is by Lizmar Soto, and she asks, "Hi, do you offer these services to Puerto Rico virtually, maybe?"
Oh, so at the time, we do not, but there's no reason we couldn't. So that is, so I would say call in, call. Call.
Right. Next question is by Angela Tab. She asks, "Is there anything that other groups or organizations can assist with to help keep the wait times at a minimum?"
Oh, I truly appreciate that. So one thing we do try to do with those first calls, and Dana, you might also speak to this, if there are resources that we can provide to callers, that could be beneficial at the time in combination with Eye2Eye. We do offer those when we first connect with those callers to tell them more about the program. Dana, I know there are times when you've offered some resources. So it is something that's particularly helpful. Just to be able to, we really want to be able to connect callers with some supports and when they call in, even if we can't offer peer support at that moment. Do you want to say more into that, Dana, too?
Yeah, there have been a few times too where, right, maybe someone doesn't need to be priority, right, but would benefit from just a one-time call from a peer to really exactly like get some resources and or just have that just emotional toolbox real quick while they're waiting. So, we do our best. And obviously, right, if someone's been on the wait list and there's a huge need, more immediate concern comes up, right, they can call or ask us a question. But, I do think those initial resources for people are helpful, just to have some basic, for those who have nothing, right, to have basic understanding.
Yeah, so then other organizations, maybe state agencies, private agencies, working with individuals, if they can connect with the person and share as many resources as possible to help, and then, including you all as one of those, but then they would have some of those other resources too to help to, while
Absolutely.
they're waiting to get in touch with you and everything as well.
Right.
And
Thank you. And also, we welcome organizations and agencies reaching out to us and really getting to know each other better. Having those conversations, if you ever want to speak with our team, that's incredibly helpful for us as well. And even just in terms of we enjoy building that community.
all right. Carrie, any others?
There's one more. Martha, or two more actually. Martha Moore asked, "How long do peer specialists train before taking their first call?"
So our training is about 6 hours at this time. We have so our department really specializes in peer support and also peer support training, and we have faculty members who come in who have trained our staff. We also have a group supervision where the peer support staff come together to discuss challenges. We do not discuss client names in those meetings. However, we do talk through challenges, and also there is a just to add, in addition to training, I am a licensed clinical social worker as my background, and I will also consult for any situations that might raise some red flags, as well as we do try throughout the year to also have other speakers come in to really, continue that professional learning.
And we can add too, everyone's had a background check to be able to.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. What to be a member of the Rutgers community or be an employee, you do have to have an extensive background check.
And I think that does speak a little bit to another question that we got. I think it was from Angela Carey, if you saw that.
Yeah, she asked another question. Is there a process for a person sign up to be a peer to assist others?
Now, in addition to the training and the background check, and are you seeking? Do you seek volunteers? Are you at your limit right now? What?
I would love, so all of our, we would love to bring on more peer support specialists, and that is funding dependent. So at this time, we don't have the funding to bring additional peer support specialists on, but it's something we are actively seeking additional funding to be able to address the demand. So if anyone is interested in being a peer support specialist with us, I encourage you to reach out to our email, and if we can have a conversation or send some information. I love to have some folks that I know are interested and available, and well, or at least might be available, but interested, and then I can reach out when additional funding becomes available.
And it brings to mind thinking about organizations that could help with the waiting list. If you have sources of funding that could help, that might be really helpful to the Eye2Eye program, because then they could possibly, hire more peer support folks to help, right?
Thank you for mentioning that, Jennifer. I can say that we're having a crowdfunder in honor of Blindness Awareness Month in October. So feel free to check out our website if you want ways to donate.
Great.
Michelle Castillo has a question. She asked, I have a lot of trouble with hotels offering to help with things like navigating. Who do I call about this, or who can help me?
I don't know. That's a pretty specific request. So I don't know if we're able to, if you ladies feel comfortable addressing that here, or Michelle, we can maybe reach out to you offline too. But ladies, if you have any thoughts.
Dana, do you have any thoughts with?
I mean, I would say, I think one of our peers probably could help with that question specifically. If you had a question, or I don't know if your program as well, Jennifer, can.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say reaching out to you all, that would be a great option. Yeah. So.
And I have to say that if one of our peer support specialists isn't aware of a particular resource, they'll definitely do some legwork and research to be able to identify resources.
And I think too, they can help talk through the whole process of what exactly are the issues, what are, what's the individual doing? What have they done to try? Are those the right things? Is there maybe a different way to phrase things? Is there different, what people are the best to get in contact with at the hotels? What are some tools to help? Because sometimes it's and not to, I don't know this particular situation at all, Michelle, so forgive me, but sometimes it's a matter of matching the right tool and having the right expectation too. I would assume too, right, ladies, that in your peer support, you talk through all of that with folks, right?
That's such an excellent point. And Dana, I'm going to let you speak more to this too, but one piece is around if there are any barriers that one may be experiencing to accessing a resource, whether it's a structural one or something that is more personal and maybe, psychological, that is something that our peers can really work through to identify some of those barriers and really step by step to try to reach that goal in connecting with a resource and engaging in those services. We don't provide case management, but we absolutely do help clients with addressing some of those challenges in utilizing the resources that are available. And Dana, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, sure, exactly. And I think that's why I don't want to jump the gun and just answer as kind of you
Yeah.
mentioned,
Yeah.
right? Because I think oftentimes it's part of a broader conversation of what have we
Yeah.
tried, right? What has it looked like? Maybe there are some resources out there, but yeah, kind of helping understand more in more detail, right? What the challenges are and kind of
Yeah.
collaborate on a possible solution or a next step to try, or maybe someone else to talk to about maybe what they've done, in those situations.
Absolutely. And I appreciate, I know we've got some responses in the chat already jumping in with some possible thoughts. Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, meta glasses, contacting an orientation and mobility instructor just for, to make sure, for assistance with any navigational skills with travel, things like that. And to tap into resources they may be aware of too. So, I think, we're all helpful people in this field, so we all got to jump in to want to offer some suggestions and options and everything. So that's great. Thanks everybody for chiming in. And I will say, if you do have questions, you can feel free to unmute yourself too. We don't have to just limit it to talking in the chat, but I did see a response. So Michelle, thank you so much. I'm glad that hopefully you'll look into it and finding information help you. Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question too. Any other questions for Alicia or Dana? And then we're getting good positive comments in the chat, ladies, for thanking you for your presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it. Again, this opportunity to share more about our program. It's been so wonderful getting to know you all too.
You are so welcome. I would just one question I had, and just because I mentioned earlier that your services are available to people at any stage in vision loss, I know that a lot of times for folks new to vision loss, I'm sure that that's probably a large percentage of the folks that you work with, but you're not restrictive to that, right? You will work with folks who maybe diagnosis could have been 6 months ago, years ago, but they may still be having issues with adjusting or finding resources, things like that, right? So
Absolutely.
various stages of vision loss and
Yes. Very
adjusting.
stages. And, sometimes someone might have had a diagnosis or been experiencing some degree of vision loss over some time. And then there might be a change that's occurred that has a more meaningful impact in their life, or a context has changed. And so that adjustment has become difficult.
We often say that process starts all over again, right? So yeah, for sure. All right. Well, any other questions? All right. Well, thank you again so much, Alicia and Dana, for sharing this valuable resource. We hope that you'll check out the flyer on our website. Again, the recording will be available next week, so please share it with your colleagues and friends and anyone that you know, family members of someone who's experiencing vision loss. This is such a great resource, and it really does speak to thinking about barriers, just making sure there are no barriers, having a phone-based service where the peer support specialists call out and call the individual, so the person doesn't have to worry about dealing with the phone. It's such a nice thing, and so thank you again. We hope that all of you listening will just check out this resource, share this resource as a way to help build connections and resilience through peer support. So until next time, we thank you and look forward to you joining us at one of our upcoming webinars. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
This has been OIB-TAC's monthly webinar. Thanks for tuning in. Find recordings of our past webinars on our YouTube channel and discover all of our many resources at oib-tac.org. That's oib-tac.org. Like us on social media and share our resources with your colleagues and friends. Until next time.